And look, the menu is destined to do the same. The contention is as follows. A maximum of 12 people are invited to dine at an exclusive remote island restaurant. Looks very nice. It's called Hawthorn. And I don't know whether any of you know what the name Hawthorn means, but it shares its name with a beautiful flower that releases foul-smelling odour. Now, I wonder whether anybody has known that before and whether one can relate that to a football club. Not that I'm saying that about Hawthorn at all, but there you go. This is a restaurant. The cost to dine is, and I'm again taking a drink of water. The cost to dine is $1,250 a head. What's the most that any of you have ever paid for a single meal? Jacqui, you're a foodie.
Off the top of my head, Alex?
Yeah,
I can't think.
Right. Okay, Dave?
I went to a $300 a head dinner auction once, probably. Yep.
Wow. Was it worth it?
Yeah, it was, but that was because I bought film memorabilia, but yeah.
Well, there you go. All right. Okay, so the chef is a guy called Julian Slowick, played by Ray Fiennes, and he's got a large staff. He's a perfectionist who carefully selects the tasting menu, respecting the natural environment that's around him, because they're surrounded by ocean. And among those invited on this occasion are a food critic called Lillian Bloom, Janet McTeer plays her, and her magazine editor, Ted, Paul Adelstein. There's a middle-aged actor, John Leguizamo, his assistant... Sorry, folks, I've developed a bit of a cough here, and it's not going away very simply, so I apologise. So you've got the assistant Felicity, played by Amy Carrero. 3 wealthy IT businessmen, Bryce, Soren and Dave. They're also part of the select group of 12. And the guest list includes an affluent older couple, Anne and Richard, played by Judith Light and Reed Burney. These are regulars. Now, the two of them. And rounding out the list are Tyler, played by Nicholas Holt, who's an admirer of the chef that I spoke about, Julian, played by Ray Fiennes, and his date, Margot, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. Is it just me, folks, before we get going into a bit more detail, Anya Taylor-Joy is one of the most striking, unusual-looking actresses that I know. I mean, I can't take my eyes off her when she's on the screen. I don't know whether it's just her look or whether it's the makeup or whether it's both. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, she's got an interesting look, but I judge more on her acting performances. And
I do, but I'm just saying that she really comes across it. She's very, very slender. The way the makeup is applied in this particular role, it really struck me as being. They went out of their way to accentuate that.
Yeah,
I'm talking about that, and that. I mean, I thought it was a terrific performance. But anybody else that Anya Taylor-Joy stands out for amongst our collective here?
I thought she was terrific, but in everything, the performance and fantastic. And
yeah,
she was probably the most striking character in the film. In fact, she was. Yeah,
undoubtedly. I mean, okay, so all of these people are ferried by boat to the restaurant, and when they first arrive, the chef's front of house supervisor is called Elsa, played by Hong Chow. She checks them in, and she discovers at the last minute Tyler has... Tyler has switched the partner who he'd initially booked in for Margot. Margot is the Anya Taylor-Joy character. Now, on their way to the restaurant, Elsa shows the guests around the facility, explaining that the restaurant is self-sufficient. And it's soon clear just how unusual and special that night's menu is going to be. It'll be a dinner unlike any other. And also at the restaurant is the chef's mother, while the dynamic among the guests is also, dare I say, fleshed out. The actor talks himself up. His assistant isn't buying what he's selling. The food writer's being, let's say, stroked by her editor. The food connoisseur's guest seems to know the ageing regular male patron. So there's interrelationships that are going on. And the 3 businessmen have a sense of entitlement. So what we've got here, the chef's word is deed. And with a hand clap, he not only attracts the attention of the guests, but he marks each course. So, okay, that's the next course. Suffice to say, the menu is rather intriguing fare. All is not right, and we, the audience, we're like flies on the wall in the game that is being played. It's been written by Seth Reese and Will Tracy, and the idea emerged from an experience that the latter had when visiting Bergen in Norway. He took a boat to a fancy restaurant on a nearby small private island. So the bizarre nature of the story is really intriguing. I really thought that Anya Taylor-Joy made this fantastic performance. Margot is not impressed by the pretentiousness of the whole exercise, nor by the food itself. And her striking look, I mentioned before, is an immediate draw card. She becomes integral to the story that unfolds. Thought Ralph Fiennes lived up to his big name reputation, measured showing as the man pushed beyond his limits. You could call it a descent into madness, could you not, Greg King?
You could. It's an interesting film, a bit of a black comedy at times there, and sort of, as it goes on, it becomes more and more disturbing and unsettling as it goes on there. I thought Ralph Fiennes was really terrific as the malevolent chef there. He's sort of got a cruel streak to him, and delighted in playing, treating these people as victims there. I thought Nicholas Hoult did a good job too as a fanboy there. Anya Taylor-Joy was good there as well, and John Leguizamo as the faded actor also stood out for me as well. Interesting film, and makes the most of its limited interiors there to unsettle the audience, but that's enough to put you off going to an exclusive restaurant for a while.
Oh, well, especially if it's on an island somewhere. I mean, Peter Krausz, I thought also the performance was very good. Hong Chow makes a mark with a cut-through she brings to the role as the leader of the chef's crew as well, too.
She certainly does. Yes, this is one of those films where it's better to know as little in advance as possible because the plot twists are very clever. And for me, it reminded me a fair bit in terms of metaphor of the Holocaust. But I won't pursue that any further. But when people see the film, they might understand that. It is a really well-plotted and well-crafted film and very well acted. And yes, I really liked it.
Jacqui, did you... I mean, this is a very different film.
Different, unusual noise. It's psycho. It's bizarre. And it gets more and more and more bizarre. And I'm not talking about the food on the plate. I mean, the chef that Ralph Fiennes plays actually is psychotic. I mean, he obviously has deep issues with seeking approval and not getting that approval. And there's one person in the room who obviously was in on that right from the start, being his mother. And it's about obsession too, obsession to the point of mental illness.
Did you like the nice touch, though, Jacqui, that lists the ingredients of each course as the meal evolves and the tension mounts accordingly? I thought that was terrific.
Well, yes, yeah. In fact, that part of it was so good, Alex, that I would have liked actually more of that.
Really?
And a bit less of the... well, without spoiling it.
No, don't
what happens in the second half, shall we say. I could say that having just seen it last night, I'm still digesting it. But
thank you. I was going to say...
there.
No, well, I was going to call it a biting satire.
Biting
Dave.
satire. It's actually quite a dystopian setting too, isn't it? It's like, and from that you could take it on to having a relationship with the Hunger Games. But
correct. Yeah, but it's far more sophisticated than the Hunger Games.
Of course, I was making another pun on the hunger, but never mind. You missed that.
No, I missed that. I did.
Oh dear, yeah, it's hard work.
Slow. Yeah, I know. It's you're dealing with amateurs. What can I say? Dave, did you enjoy it? Did you get something out of the menu?
I did. I don't think I loved it as much as other people, though. For me, there was one.
Really?
For me, there was one bit lacking from this film. I wanted to see more about how Chef Slowik became what he is, where he's at that point, and I won't go into spoilers, but where he's got to, how he's got to this point where he wants to do what he's doing on this night. I think Ralph Fiennes is absolutely fantastic in the role. I just wish the screenplay had given us a little more of how he got that way. I mean, if you go back and look at films like Silence of the Lambs, when you've got a psycho like Hannibal Lecter, you always get a good insight into how that character has got to that point. And I really wanted to see that with the Ralph Fiennes character in this film.
A backstory. Let's have a film.
There was the backstory came into the room that Margot found elements.
Yeah, but I wanted to see more of how
that was some of it.
Yeah.
But
maybe that could be the prequel, Dave.
Yeah, but look, there was other parts of the film I absolutely loved. I loved John Leguizamo's character. I loved the character of Tyler, which is Nicholas Holt's character, because we all know a foodie who is like that you wish would have something bad happen to them. I shouldn't say that, but I'm sure people know what I mean. But yeah, like I sided with the victims, so to speak, and I found the chef's character really, really interesting. I just wanted to know more about how he got to that point.
So, directed by Mark Mylod, very good in terms of the way that he's done that. There is an aftertaste, let me tell you that. You do think about it afterwards. That's a really good thing, because you don't, with every movie, you sort of walk out and you think, okay, on to the next one. But this has got something special to it. It's called The Menu. It runs for 107 minutes. It's MA rated, and a score out of 10, starting with Peter Krausz.
Clever film, well plotted, and quite disturbing by the end. 8 out of 10.
I was going to say, I was going to give you... You're signalling your punches. Very nice. Okay. Greg King.
Yeah, look, 7.5 for me, yep.
Yeah, all right. Jacqui?
The Menu, I'll say that I have my reservations.
Do you?
Little bit concerned about who really is the market for this, because I think a lot of people who would love the idea of the film, of the first half of the film, would struggle with the second half. So I'm giving it 7 out of 10 for The Menu. Yep.
And when you say,
you gas today, Jacqui.
Thank you very much, Greg. We should say you do the dad jokes on your own show, correct?
Yep.
Thank you. So, Jacqui, without spoiling anything, can you elaborate on why you thought the second half went downhill?
I went with 2 lady friends last night, 2 of my friends from my gym, and they were pretty horrified by it. And yet they were seeing the cast, I think, especially being led by Ralph Fiennes, and seeing the look of it. It looked intriguing. It was about fine dining. It was about odd characters. But there's an element of it that is not at all visually enjoyable, and in fact takes over the film. So the fact that we're avoiding talking about that as a spoiler is difficult for people who might choose whether or not to see it, because I would be warning them to actually see a bit of the trailers or get an idea of it to make up the mind, because once you get into the second half of the film, there's no turning back.
Well, 7.5 out of 10 for me. And Dave Griffiths.
Yeah, I'm giving it 7 out of 10 as well. It was a good entree to the films that we're seeing now at Monster Fest, but it wasn't a main course for me.
Very good. All right, JR, 80